So, let me get this straight. The Red Sox reaction to sweeping the Yankees and getting back in contention is to pull off a worse trade than when they traded Mookie Betts. Wow. Talk about an all-time rug pull on their fan base. I respect it. I almost have sympathy for them. Almost. But I really don't. Good evening, everybody. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Much love. Much love to my father as well. Unfortunately, he's in heaven, but much love to him too. So yeah, happy Father's Day to everyone. Happy Sunday for those and everyone as well. What a weird Sunday. What a weird day. Who had that? Who had this in your bingo card? Who had Devers being traded on their bingo card? Especially as a reaction to sweeping the Yankees. Who had that on their bingo card? I didn't have that one. I have to say. I didn't envisage that, especially after Devers had a shot over the Green Monster today to help beat the Yankees. And then the reaction to that is to trade him for Hicks. Jordan Hicks. That is a really bad trade, bro. Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, and more. Shout out to Jonathan. How are you, Jonathan? Shout out to Ken in the chat. Shout out to John the Beagle Dad. He was really wanting this rant. So salute to you. Got Brad in the chat. Let's see what Brad's got to say. Anyone that had this trade in their bingo card is off with the fairies. Amen. This is almost absurd as one, it is an absurd trade. It is absolutely absurd. What is up, Dev? Good to see you in the chat. Acevedo says we should trade it for him. Absolutely. I love Devers, but I don't think the Red Sox would ever have traded him to us. So they've just basically got rid of him for absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. That is an all-time rug pull on their fan base, I have to say. Like, wow. It's that's a brutal, brutal trade. If I was a Red Sox fan, God forbid, but if I was, I would be very, very upset. I don't know if that's really the purpose of what the Red Sox front office should be looking for. They shouldn't be trying to make the Yankees happy. They shouldn't be actually trying to help the Yankees, especially after they've just destroyed the Yankees 5 games out of 6. And the reaction to getting back in the Yankees basically handed the Red Sox back in the division race. They brought them right back from the dead. Oh no! We can't have you guys struggling this year. So yeah, come back up. And then the Red Sox are like, no. You guys take it. Insane. Absolutely insane. What a weird trade. That's a horrible trade. So what do you guys in the chat think of that? Because that is a horrible, horrible trade. He is a Yankee killer. How many home runs does he have against the Yankees? Like 31? What does he have? What's his OPS this season? He's already got 900 OPS. Unbelievable. Yeah. Cold Italian, good to see you. Trading Devers is like us trading Judge. He's the best player. He is. He's the one guy in that lineup that absolutely scares the piss out of me. It's a massive salary dump. What is that about, though? Why? Like, why would that be their aim? Shouldn't they be aiming to build around him? Shouldn't they be trying to get some pitching in order to help him? And in order to clearly take on a Yankee team that they could easily beat in the playoffs? Easily. They're already doing it for fun in the regular season. That is an all-time rug pull on their fan base. So the fans are like, yeah, we just swept the Yankees. And then 5 minutes later, they check their phones and see that they traded their best player for Jordan Hicks. Oh, that is a good one. Oh, I like that. That makes me happy. Jordan Hicks. I mean, is he as bad as this Hicks? I don't know if he's quite as bad as this Hicks, but he's having a horrible year, Jordan Hicks. Like he's got an ERA of like 6.5 this year. Oh man, that's rough. That is rough, and I love it. I checked Jordan Hicks' stats in astonishment when that trade went through. Yeah, 1-5 with a 6.47 ERA. That is amazing, dude. His last outing was on the 1st of June. He only lasted a third of an inning against the Marlins. Gave up 3 walks and an earned run in a third of an inning. And the Red Sox are like, yeah, that's who I want. That's who I'm trading my superstar for. Let's go. Look in the chat. The Red Sox didn't even get their Giants top prospect, their 4th best. Oh, bro. What is the name of the prospect that they got, incidentally? Because I only know the 2 headliners. Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks. I don't think Harrison is that highly rated amongst the Giant fan base. I don't think that they're that bothered about losing him, which is again probably shouldn't be the raison d'etre of the Red Sox front office. What is that trade even? Oh my god! And don't worry, I'm going to get started on the Yankees very soon. I was really planning on going to town on them, and I will. Oh, I will. Trust me on that. But this is remarkable. Yeah, Kyle Harrison. His last outing was against the Rockies, who everyone knows is like the worst organization in sports, let alone baseball. 5 innings pitched only. 3 earned runs, 2 home runs, and 2 walks. 4.56 ERA. That's not good. No, that's not good. No. And last year he also had an identical 4.56 ERA. 63 earned runs in 24 games pitched, which is not good. Similar 4.15 ERA in his rookie year. So altogether, he has a career ERA of almost 4.50. And a 500 win-loss record, 91 earned runs allowed in just about, well, you would say 1.5 years. So, yeah, he's not that good. Right, Luca's got the update. Thank you, Luca. The name is James Tibbs. He's a high A outfielder for the Eugene Emeralds. 12 homers and 857 OPS on the year. Not a world beater, although I could be wrong. He's just drafted this year. Well, he's in single A. So I don't think you're probably going to see him for a while. I don't know what the Red Sox were doing there. That's such a weird move. Because Aaron Boone just brought the Red Sox back from the dead. And the Red Sox reaction to that is, oh, no, you can take it. What? It makes no sense to me. Oh my God, it makes 0 sense to me. The Red Sox are only 6 games behind the Yankees in the division. So basically, if they get Bregman back and they get a couple of starters, they could make a run at the Yankees in the division. And they're like, no, it's okay. Dude, I would be pissed if I were a Red Sox fan. That is an excellent rug pull, though. I respect that. I seriously respect that. Wow. I want to know what the Red Sox fans are thinking. They must be going nuts because that trade reminds me of the Luka Doncic trade. Oh, and Luka just beat me to it. As far or worse than Doncic. Me and Luka, see? Telekinesis, Kyle. I was going to say that. I was thinking, I mean, if I was to compare that to a trade, what trade would you compare that to? I would compare it to the Mookie Betts trade, which again the Red Sox were involved with, and Luka Doncic. So for NBA fans who are not NBA fans, Luka Doncic is this all NBA player, and the Dallas Mavericks franchise player, Dallas Mavericks traded him for absolutely nothing. So, wow. So, all right, you guys in the chat, think about what that trade reminds you of. Because this could be a fun exercise. It reminds me of the Mookie Betts one, and it reminds me of the Luka Doncic one. And they're both terrible. Brad sent me a DM, sliding in my DMs, are you? Thank you, brother. John Bazzini, Yankees better be making some moves to light a fire under the team because they look dead. Boone's June swoon. Dude, it's a summer thing with the Yankees, man. They go in the summer swoon. I would be surprised if this continues all the way through to August. This is what the Yankees do almost every year under Aaron Boone. They build up kind of a decent lead, and then they just like, Right. Let's see what Brad just sent me a tweet from I am James Stewart from the Globe on Devers being dealt to the Giants. The team's feeling was that a $313.5 million contract comes with responsibilities to do what is right for the team, and that Devers did not live up to those responsibilities. They had enough, and they traded him. So, I mean, yeah, you could have enough, but is that really the return? That's a shitty return. Donnie Clark says, salute to Uncle Tats. Uncle Tats is not here, brother. But I'm here. And now Devers to the Giants. There you go. Yankees go in the swoon every year until the All-Star way past the All-Star break. Yeah, Devers will be happy in San Fran for sure. Absolutely insane. Despite the Celtics winning the finals last year, you can make a good argument the next start the Boston downfall, losing to Bruins' best player about to win the Stanley Cup. Well, I hope it's Boston's downfall, my man. I really do. But wow. Let's say. And if anyone else has anything else to say about the trade, do send us a message. We'll read it out for you guys, because it is definitely the hot news. I didn't expect it coming. I was just expected to go on a full Aaron Boone rant, and then the Red Sox kind of gave me a bit of a favor. Still doesn't make up for what the Yankees did this weekend, though. And the thing was, I overreacted to the first game of the series, blaming it all on the umpires. Because I thought, you know what, maybe the Yankees will come out and they'll come out mad on Saturday. That's what I was expecting. I thought they'd come out mad on Saturday, and I thought they would, turn it around on today as well. They did absolutely nothing. They rolled over and basically played dead the entire series. I think it was the worst offensive series at Fenway in 103 years. Did I hear that right from Michael Kay? please correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But Michael K said in this sweep, it's in Fenway. It's the first time the Yankees have only scored 4 runs in an entire series in 103 years. I mean, there's nothing more I can say about that. What an absolute disgrace. What a disgrace. And I want every single Yankee fan to please get off this bandwagon and please call out the disgrace that you just witnessed this weekend, because that was a disgrace. Everyone should be ashamed of that. I'm ashamed of it. The players should be ashamed of it. Aaron Boone should be ashamed of it. That was shameful, the way they played this entire series. They were sloppy. They were disinterested. They were unprepared. They were half asleep. Half asleep? No, they were fully asleep. They were outmanaged. They were outfought. Outfought is a kind way of putting it, because they didn't even fight. They didn't even play. They didn't show up Saturday or Sunday. They ran themselves off a bit out of innings, struck themselves out of innings. They were shameful. And the way that Aaron Boone reacted to it was even worse. Did you guys see his post-game interview on Yes? That was disgusting, man. Now, I know that YouTube are really, really rough with all monetization stuff and things like that. So I'm going to try and avoid going on a huge expletive-laden rant, for one, although I would love to call them every single name in the book. Trust me on that. But also, I think that they're really harsh with playing anything from the Yes Network or anything like that. So you're just going to have to trust what I'm going to read out to some of the crazy stuff that Aaron Boone had to say. There was one point where Meredith Morokovich, shout out to her, she asked Aaron Boone the question about our base running. The base running blunders. And guess what? Aaron Boone tried to gaslight you guys, tried to gaslight us to saying, what blunders? He basically downplayed any blunders. Well, he's like, what other blunders? And she's like, well, Anthony Volpe. He's like, that wasn't a blunder. That was a steal. It was a steal. Are you joking? You're okay with that? And then she was like, well, okay, well, but Dominguez. Oh, well, yeah, okay, well, Dominguez. I mean, I'm trying to hold back. I'm trying not to go on an expletive laden rant like I did in the last show a couple days ago. But I'm going to try and find more profound. No, I can't. What the absolute F are you? What the F are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, what blunders? What blunders? I could name at least 3. And then that's not even to mention Volpe having a clown show series at shortstop. Clown show at shortstop. Dominguez forgetting how many strikes there was, and he just started to wander off. There was another instance where Grisham was kind of slow to throw the ball back to second, and Anthony Volpe just forgot that he was actually playing for a second. He just stared into space and allowed somebody to take second. These guys were not switched on. They didn't care. They looked disinterested. They were a disgrace. What a disgrace. Look at, how do you not know how many outs there are in Dominguez's case? And how about Aaron Boone not showing any kind of fight after that? Aaron Boone has got to lay down some kind of a law other than other than watching Sesame Street with them and then sharing cupcakes and coffee and ice cream and whatever that they do behind the scenes, because they sure as hell do not practice fundamentals. Because this has been going on every single year under Aaron Boone. This is no longer a surprise. This is what happens. It's just an unbelievably relaxed situation going on over there. They just get so chilled. They win a couple of games. They're a couple of games up in the division. And they're like, I'll just take this series off. What's on HBO at 10 o'clock? Oh, cool. I'll look forward to that. Honestly, what are they? What a disgrace. What a disgrace. It is really shameful, man, because I remember when the Yankees used to take the Red Sox seriously with these two guys. Yeah, these two guys. A-Rod, Derek Jeter. They would never, ever, ever allow what happened this weekend to happen. Ever. It never happened under their watch. It was quite ironic that we had Joe Girardi in the booth, and I just showed you a picture of A-Rod and Derek Jeter, because under them, none of that would have happened. It never happened with them. Ever. The Yankees actually cared when they played the Red Sox. And if any of the nonsense would have happened behind the scenes, their captain would have pulled them up. Jeter would have pulled them up. Maybe not in public, but definitely behind the scenes. They would have been pulled up, and it would be dealt with. Joe Girardi, for sure. And he would never, ever come across the way as soft as Aaron Boone came across in the postgame. Do you see some of his answers? Did you guys see some of his answers? That is why the Yankees have not been able to get over the hump with this guy since 2018. It's been exactly the same story. Exactly the same story. He was asked, any level of concern for that kind of performance? Concern? No, that's not the right word. I wouldn't say concern. Well, what would you call it then? Because how could you not be concerned? How could you not be? Because I'm concerned. Any fan with eyes should be concerned. Really. I thought it was just amazing how just... And what about his answer? Did you guys see his answer to Anthony Volpe getting himself thrown out? Aaron Boone was asked if he was okay with Volpe's decision to try and steal third in the 10th. Oh, hell yeah! You're not? No, I'm not. What is going on in the mind of our manager? How could you be okay with that? And that's the problem, Jacob. Donald and Boone's mind, it's just one bad weekend. Got Armand in the chat. Good to see you, Armand. Armand, how are you? Evan, good to see you in the chat, man. Let's go Big Blue. Boone doesn't care either. They're just so relaxed. He kept saying it. You guys watch that. You guys watch that little interview, man. Just 5 minutes of him going, yeah, but we're a really good ball club. Yeah, we're a really good ball club. Oh, you're not concerned? No, I wouldn't say I'm concerned. No. What about the base running blunders? What blunders? No, just, why not just gaslight us for 5 minutes? Just shameful, because I remember when the Yankees used to playing the Red Sox seriously. Those were good times, trust me. And I overreacted to that first game. I put it in an isolated box where I was like, yeah, the umpires had a lot to do with that game. But I overlooked a lot of the major issues that were going on in that game alone. A, we weren't hitting. B, Anthony Volpe trying to steal third for absolutely no reason. C, Aaron Boone being completely happy with it. Yeah, I think Luke is even correcting me here. I remember when the Yankees took any game seriously. Yeah, right. That's fair, man. That's absolutely a fair point. Let me remind you guys, because I don't know. There'll be some that are older, some that are younger. Maybe some I didn't see these guys, but these guys would never have allowed what happened this weekend to happen. No freaking way. No way. Absolutely not. Oh, yeah, Narvaez. That was a really good trade, Cash. Good job, man. Yeah. Why not? Let's just give Boston a starting catcher for somebody in single A. That's great. Good job. Give them a starting catcher. The Red Sox give us nothing, but we give them starting caliber catchers. Great. Here's what I learned from this series, right? And it might be a hot take, might not be a popular take on this channel, but this is what I learned from this series, regardless of the Red Sox trade, which is ridiculous. And I almost have sympathy for their disgusting fan base, but I don't. This is what I learned about the Yankees. The Yankees are overrated, guys. I'm sorry. It's true. It's true. The Yankees are overrated. Might not be a popular take. I don't care, but I stand on it. I think this team is overrated. Why? Because we just saw what this team is like when Aaron Judge isn't nuclear. When Aaron Judge is nuclear, we win 55, 60% of our games. When he's not nuclear, look at the rest of this lineup. And it's not that good. Don't have a third baseman. We knew that. Anthony Volpe is a head case. We know that. Jazz Chisholm he's a good player, but he's not a great player, and he's a low average kind of player. Hits the occasional home run, but there's a lot of times where you can easily get him out because he loves to chase. Goldschmidt, he's good. He's not the same Goldschmidt as he wasn't as a Cardinal, but he's still very good. But he's more of a contact hitter at this stage of his career, and there's nothing wrong with that. So he's aside. Him and Aaron Judge, they're aside in this. Bellinger, not the same kind of MVP caliber player. He's still okay, solid enough, but again, not like special anymore, I would say. Special defensively, not necessarily offensively. Very good against lefties, not so good against righties. He's okay. Grisham, he was bound to go back to the mean. Very good player, very good role player, but he's not really an everyday starter because he's never hit more than 16 home runs. He's got 13. He's due to go in a bit of a slump. Again, amazing defensively, he's about average offensively, slightly above average. And now you're seeing us retreat to the mean a little bit. Ben Rice, all-world start, but I mean, none of us expected this to continue. He's starting to regress back to the mean. What we're seeing is the Yankees starting to regress back to the mean. And by the way, we've seen it for the last couple of series. We really have. We've seen the Yankees start regressing back to the mean. And then, there'll be people coming at me going, whoa, we just swept the Royals. Whoa. I mean, there was a lot of times in that Royals series where we didn't really do anything offensively, nothing at all. And the Royals are awful. I mean, we had to sneak out a 1-0 win. And it came from Pablo Reyes, who should have been out at home again, another base running blunder because he fell on his ass. And then he got, and somehow he got away with it and scored. It was a 1-0. The Yankees have had a few 1-0s out of, got shut out by the Guardians. They got beat 18-2 off the Dodgers. They had to sneak past the Angels 1-0. Snuck past the Angels 3-2. The Rockies gave us a hard time. The Rockies beat us 3-2 at one point. The Yankees had to edge past them 5-4 just to win the series. Yankees had to beat the Rangers 1-0. There's some 1-0s in there. They've snuck past. They've been relying on their pitching for a while. And this past series, 2-1, 4-3, 2-0. Not a lot of offense. The Yankees haven't really scored that many runs in the last, week. 1-0 win, and it came from a run they didn't deserve. 2-1 loss, 4-3, and basically most of the runs came in the ninth inning, and then 2-0 defeat. So the Yanks have been doing very little, and then they were embarrassing last weekend against the Red Sox. Obviously, they lost 2 out of 3. And they had one explosion against the Royals where they scored 10 runs to make the averages look a little bit better. But let's be honest, they're starting to regress back to the mean a little bit. And it's not a surprise because you look at this lineup, and I don't think it's that good. It's not a terrible lineup, obviously, because they're ahead in a lot of ways in American League, but you're starting to see that it's starting to regress a little bit. This is what this team looks like when Aaron Judge isn't nuclear. And it's not good. What happens when we face quality pitching? It's not good. Have you seen our record against the American League East? It's below 500, guys. This team is slightly overrated. I'm not saying it's bad, because there's a difference between being overrated and bad. I'm saying they're overrated, and they're going to get found out. But they're incredibly fortunate because the American League is, by and large, quite weak. So they're very fortunate because their next run of games, the Angels, unless Mike Trout goes off, which he very much could because he's back from injury, but the Angels aren't really a team to be afraid of. The Orioles are really bad. The Reds are good this year, though. Keep an eye out on the Reds. And then the Athletics are pretty bad, but then we face the Blue Jays in the start of July, and then the Mets. And I think the Mets are going to come back and have some revenge. And we're also facing the Cubs and the Mariners, the Braves. The Braves are always a tough team, even if they're struggling. Blue Jays and the Phillies, and then the Rays. So, you know what? There's going to be a nice little stretch for us for the next week or so. And then right through until, I would say, August, there's some difficult series ahead. And if the Yankees continue to show this kind of arrogant attitude, then they could be in trouble a little bit because they are an overrated ball club. If they were a really good ball club, they would have taken care of the Red Sox. But they didn't. And it stems from this guy, Boone. Baltimore 11-4 in the last 15 games. I mean, dude, if we lose to the Orioles, then we've got some problems because we should be able to beat them. But they have a ton of talent. Donnie Clark says Yanks have to beat those teams under 500 in order to go back to the playoffs. I mean, I'm not worried about the playoffs. They're going to get they'll do enough to get that. There's every chance they still win this division. But I'm being honest, I just don't think this team's very good. We don't have a bullpen. We have 2.5 starters. And this lineup desperately needs Big G. Desperately needs Big G. Because it's kind of boring. When Aaron Judge isn't up at the plate, it's kind of boring. Anna Marie, good to see Anna Marie in the chat. Boone sucks. His attitude was disgusting after this game. Disgusting. Cashman is a Hall of Famer GM. Rays are a problem. At least we get G back. Yeah, I'm excited to see G back, but I need to call out Aaron Boone because he mismanaged this series. But it's not just that. It's his attitude. It's his attitude to how he's perfectly okay with the lack of preparation, the lack of effort, the lack of accountability, being asleep on the base paths, not being aware of the situation, not being aware of the in-game situations, completely okay with Anthony Volpe trying to steal third for no reason. And did you see his answer? His answer to that was you're okay with Volpe running us out of the inning? Oh, hell yeah, you're not? No, I am not. I'm far from okay with it. Because it's against every single fundamental rule of baseball. Never make the first out at third. Especially in this dumb ghost runner situation. Manfred's basically giving you a run in extra innings. He's basically handing you a free run in extra innings. Just don't do anything stupid and you'll score. He's giving you a free run because 2 ground outs the other way scores you. You know? 1 single scores you. A freaking a sacrifice bunt and a sacrifice fly scores you. You don't even need to get a hit in order to score in extra innings. And for no reason at all, Anthony Volpe just takes off for third base. And Aaron Boone is perfectly content with that. He's perfectly okay with his low IQ shortstop. And that's my issue with Anthony Volpe. Because he is part and parcel of the problem of this modern Yankee team. He is the face of this Yankee team in many ways because he's their great white hope, their great white prospect. They play him every single day. They don't hold him accountable, and he is a low IQ baseball player. What about what happened today? A pathetic attempt at a grab at shortstop, fumbled it, tried to throw, and then fumbled that as well. Oh, what else did he do today? Oh, he also, grounded into a double play. Yeah, this is everyone's great white hope, though. Anthony Volpe. And what about the play where he allowed the runner to take second base? Because he was just standing there. He had the ball. And he just wow. Fenway's nice this time of year, huh? Oh, someone just took second. This is our hot prospect that we all love. And we can't say anything bad about Anthony Volpe. Give me a break. I'll say whatever I want about Anthony Volpe. He's not that good. He isn't that good. No. He absolutely isn't. I will be shocked if he ever makes an all-star team. Shocked. I can promise you he's not that good. He's not that smart. He's not that talented. He's not nearly as fast as he thinks he is because he's a pretty average base runner. He's not nearly as good at shortstop as he thinks he is. He's not nearly as good a hitter as he thinks he is too. He's not that good. I would love to trade Anthony Volpe. I'm so sick of him. I'm sick of him. Sick of his act. Shortstop. Completely average baseball player. Very average. The definition of average. If you look at the dictionary for average baseball player, Anthony Volpe's face is right there. And I'm sick of being gaslit by the Yankees like he's this all-time phenomenal player. He's not. I've seen better part-time shortstops. And he's a full-time shortstop. I've seen much better part-time ones. And I've been watching this freaking sport since I was like freaking 5. Like almost 35 years, and I've seen much better shortstops come and go. And I have to put up with him every day? No. Absolutely miserable performance against the Red Sox. And I don't accept it. So I was disgusted by his performance. Dominguez, I love Dominguez, but I can't give him a break. We didn't know what time it was, day it was, how many strikes it was. I'm just going to wander off. Get out of here. It permeates from this locker room, the lack of leadership, and poor management. Because a good manager never, ever, ever would accept this to happen. Never. It would get dealt with instantly. Instantly. Joe Girardi would never accept that to happen. You would never, ever see what you saw this weekend continue trending, permeating through this entire weekend. If it happened once, it would have been shut down right then and there. But we've got this manager who's completely cool with it all. Yeah. Concerned? I wouldn't say that. We're a really good ball club. Yeah. The Red Sox had their hitting shoes on today. Had their hitting shoes on. Absolutely disgraceful. This team is not that good. And I learned that this weekend. I always felt like this hot streak that we were on almost felt like it wasn't really real because I just don't like this team that much. I just don't. There's certain things that just I don't like about it. I think it's a false kind of prophecy. It's like, yeah, it looks good. Like, how would you put it? How would I describe it? You know, it'd be like a really hot girl, but she's got nothing in there. It's like that's what the Yankees are this year. Because if you really like have a conversation with this Yankee team, they're not that smart. No. The way they play isn't smart. They aren't that smart. They just aren't that smart. They do a lot of dumb things. And they have a manager who just is perfectly content with it. He downplays it. Oh, it's just one weekend. Oh, isn't just one weekend? Oh, we also got our ass handed to us in the last weekend. Yeah, but it still just doesn't matter. It's fine. It's cool. I'm not concerned. Yeah. What do you mean they had base running blunders? I love that. His answer to Meredith Marakovich. What do you think about those base running blunders, Boone? What base running blunders? Yeah. I'm just sick of it. I would love to get my franchise back. I miss it because this is not the Yankees I grew up with. And I know I have to deal with it and accept it, but I don't. Because this kind of stuff would never be accepted. And I know I keep saying it, and I know people are sick of it. Oh, no, you're not going to go on about George again, or you're not going to talk about the Yankees in the 90s again, or the early thousands. No, but they set a standard. They set a standard that you shouldn't forget about. There was a standard there. You know, I'm not expecting to get the next A-Rod to come back or the next Derek Jeter to show up or the next Bernie or the next Tino. I know that. Jason Giambi, Gary Sheffield, all that stuff. I understand that. I know that Roger Clemens isn't going to rewind the clock back 25 years, as same as Pettit and El Duque, and I know Mariano Rivera is not going to come back. I understand all that. But they set a standard. A standard that should be put on the locker room wall for these new guys to walk in to look at every single day. Derek Jeter set a standard every single day. He played every single day, and he always made it clear that he played every single day like it was the first time that someone in the stands is watching him. So he wants to play 100% as hard as possible every single inning, every single at bat, every single time he was on the field. He played like it was the first time somebody was watching him. He wanted to give that fan, whoever it was, Joe fan in the stand, me, a memory of what it's like to watch a Hall of Fame player. And there's just not enough of that in this team. Aaron Judge, that's one. This dude, I know he had a horrible series, but he's exempt. I'm sorry. You bat 400 this year, you're kind of exempt. He plays like it's the first time that someone's watching him in the stands. But you cannot convince me that some of these dudes, Dominguez is wandering off, going to get a soda, Anthony Volpe being asleep on the base paths, asleep on the field, asleep just generally. You can't convince me that these guys have that same attitude. You just can't convince me. And George obviously hated losing to these teams. The Red Sox. Can't do it. You're getting pulled up to his office if you lose to the Red Sox. Even in an individual game, let alone getting swept. Let alone having your worst outing against the Red Sox in 105 years. But let alone all that stuff. One loss against the Red Sox, you're getting pulled up to his office. Never lose to the Rays. The Yankees are awful against the Rays. They have been for years under Aaron Boone. But we're just going to accept that, I suppose. You can't lose to those teams. And the Mets. You never, ever lose to the Mets. There is just, and you sure as shit shouldn't have that same outing in the World Series last year where you got embarrassed. You had the worst inning in the history of the ball club. And all that stuff is perfectly acceptable nowadays. It's completely acceptable. It's perfectly cool. No manager should ever, ever try and gaslight you to tell you what you saw didn't happen. And that is a definition of gaslighting. And Aaron Boone tried to gaslight you with his answer to Meredith Marakovich. Meredith Marakovich asked, what about those base running blunders? And he retorted, what other blunders are you referring to? Thinking in his own crazy mind that there was only one blunder. Completely forgetting, yeah, Anthony Volpe having the first out at third is considered a blunder. You moron. Dominguez forgetting how many strikes there are and where he is in the situation is a blunder. You moron. None of this is acceptable. None of this. We just got swept against the Boston Red Sox. I don't care where you are at any stage of the season. We could be multiple world champions. You get swept against the Red Sox and you only score 4 runs in an entire series. You deserve to get criticized. But this team under Aaron Boone is above criticism. They're arrogant. They try and gaslight you that what you saw didn't happen and that you should just be perfectly content. Well, I am not content. Because the reason why I'm not content is because the fundamentals are a joke. And we were promised that they were going to fix these fundamentals this offseason. Because the reason why we lost the World Series was, what's the answer? Oh, that's right. Fundamentals. Yeah, lack of fundamentals was probably the reason why we lost the World Series. What was the big problem against the Dodgers? Pray tell. My memory's bad. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. That's right. They can't run the bases, and they get constantly thrown out, just wandering off into the elements on the base paths. Yeah, right. So that happened in the World Series, and it's still happening now. And I'm supposed to be just delighted because we're like 4.5 games clear in the division. Oh, there's no problem. Piss off. Absolutely not accepting it. I'm not content with this at all. Miserable performance. Arrogant franchise. Arrogant. Just generally arrogant. And an arrogant approach. They didn't think that they needed to add a third baseman this offseason. Now, why do we need a third baseman? Why do we need to get these guys to not get themselves thrown out on the base paths? Aaron Boone, in this again, disgraceful post-game, he said that our run prevention was good. What aspect of it was good? Our defense was garbage. John the Beagle Dad's tired of the Boone apologists. I am too. I agree, Donnie. He only cares about money. Fundamentals are absolutely essential, says Anne-Marie. You are right. Willie Randolph should be our manager. I would love an old school manager. Because I'm an old school guy. I like tough teams. I definitely prefer a team with a tough mindset, tough mentality. You're not going to win 162 games. I appreciate that. But I do want to see an element of toughness. I don't want to see an element of fight. And I just want to see a team that, cares about wearing this logo. Because I didn't see it this weekend. Saw it from a couple guys. DJ LeMahieu. Aaron Judge. But we didn't see much of DJ LeMahieu this series. That was a mistake from Ben. DJ LeMahieu looked like he cared. Aaron Judge looked like he cared. He just had a horrible series. It is what it is. But there's just too many guys that just were asleep at the wheel. Max Fried was locked in. We let him down. There's just not enough toughness. And I do look forward to having Big G back in the locker room because I don't think he would accept this nonsense that we put up with this weekend. But it also doesn't really excuse the bigger problem. Because I know that there'll be some people here that are going to comfort themselves going, hey, well, the Red Sox just traded their best player. We're fine. We're going to get Big G back. We're fine. Aaron Boone says we're fine, so we're fine. No. Because this is the same shit. And it happens every single year. Every single year. Nothing changes. There is a swoon in the summer. It happens every single year. So I'm expecting it again this year. A lack of intensity in really big series. Terrible fundamentals. And it happens in the worst inopportune moments. Embarrassing yourselves like you did when you lost. What did we lose? Like 18-2 against the Dodgers a couple of weeks ago? It was fine. Aaron Boone didn't care about that either. No. So this is a pattern. So why am I supposed to get excited because we face like the Angels or something like that? Maybe we'll beat the Angels. Who cares? This team is not that good. And the Red Sox exposed it. A good manager exposed Aaron Boone. What is it that Alex Cora does to Aaron Boone for him to just fall apart? I want to know. Because again, it speaks to a bigger problem. Yeah, the Yankees will be fine. I'm sure they'll kind of right themselves against some of the dregs of the American League. But the bigger picture has been exposed. The Yankees have been exposed. And I felt that the Yankees have been exposed for a while now. And their bullpen will get exposed. Their lack of bullpen. And the fact that they strike out far too much will also be exposed. The Red Sox have been exposing the Yankees 5 out of 6 games. And it's not even a good Red Sox team. And they just exposed Aaron Boone. They exposed the problems of this team because that's what Cora does. Because he did it last season too. The Red Sox weren't even good last season. And guess what? Alex Cora exposed Aaron Boone. Alex Cora figured out that the Yankees were terrible fundamentally. So he challenged our lack of fundamentals. And then they beat our asses last year too. Fast forward to this year, same thing. Challenge the Yankees' lack of fundamentals, beat the pants off us. 5 out of 6. And that game film will now be available for other teams. Any team with ability should be able to expose this Yankee team. They're just very fortunate that the rest of the American League is just not that good. So some of them will not be able to expose it. For instance, the Royals. The Royals couldn't expose the Yankees' weaknesses. Even though they were close, they couldn't quite do it. Because they're not that good. So I would be surprised if the Angels do the same thing. Or the Orioles. The Yankees are, what I'm going to say is I think the Yankees are a product of a really bad American League. Because I don't really rate this team that much. And I think it will get, unless there's some fundamental changes in July, which I'm not expecting. If they get a big name righty bat at the deadline and a couple of excellent strikeout guys out of the bullpen, I just don't have much expectations that they're going to do too much in the American League playoffs. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I think they're a little bit overrated, and the Red Sox exposed it. We got Aiden in the chat. Salute to Aiden. Hi, Aiden. Thanks for hopping in. John Beagle says, I knew this early on. Yeah, but I wanted to give the Yankees every benefit of the doubt. Evan says, Cashman must make moves at the trade deadline. A lot of moves. It was a terrible weekend. It really was. At this point, I don't care who we trade. Yeah, but the thing is, the Yankees are tied to a lot of these guys, so they're not going to make any drastic changes. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make too many moves at all. Because they're not going to move off Volpe, sure. Second base, they're not going to move off Jazz playing third or second, wherever they play him. DJ LeMahieu has actually played pretty well, so maybe they want to trust him. So maybe they feel that they don't really need to add a big bat. You know, they're going to obviously try and they're going to ride it out with Dominguez and Grisham and all that stuff, Bellinger. They probably will feel that they don't need to do too much at all. And there'll be evidence to suggest that they shouldn't, because obviously they are amongst the better hitting teams in the American League. I get it. But the Red Sox exposed the fatal flaw that this team strikes out far too much. And they're just a lackadaisical team. Dozy-ass team. And I don't know what move can be made in July to change that. That's my problem. That's my problem, because a lot of this is actually stems from the top rather than personnel. We do have a good team. It's overrated, but it's a good team. I think it's a problem from up top. They just seem very content. Management system that's just pretty content, and that worries me, because the stuff that you saw from Boone where he's just if he just showed a little bit of intensity, a little bit of fight, to snap this team out of their just malaise against the Red Sox, to speak to them about the disgusting base running and terrible fielding. Hold them to account. And if I saw some of that, then we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Same habits. Exactly. I don't see us doing much of that. Neither do I. Because there's a few things working against us. Our farm system is not got a lot of major league ready talent in the minors right now. Well, Lombard's maybe 2 years away, maybe a year away, between a year and 2 years away. And we've got a lot of guys that are looking good, like in low A and double A, but there's not a lot that's going to come through in triple A right now that can maybe give this team a boost. We are really struggling in pitching. Our pitching is absolutely decimated in the minors right now, and that needs to be built up. So we don't really have a lot. Spencer Jones is an option, but he still is a strikeout guy. He strikes out a lot, and that needs to be worked on. I don't know what kind of players that we're going to make available at the deadline that will give us that shot in the arm that could put us over the top for our World Series. The only name I could see us maybe trading would be Everson Pereira. I don't think Peraza has much value anymore because he hasn't taken advantage of his opportunities, unfortunately. I love the guy. Much prefer him to Volpe, but he's not really shown up this year. So, offensively anyway, so he probably doesn't have much value. I'm not sure. Brock Salvage is good, but I'm not sure if there's that much talent coming through. Hampton's been hurt a lot. I just don't know how much Pereira and Peraza is going to get you, man. Donnie think Pereira and Peraza, I do agree, but I'm not sure what they're going to get you. Peraza's not got much value because he's out of options. So the Yankees basically kind of have to trade him if they don't use him. Pereira doesn't really have a major league role. And probably another team knows that. So I'm not sure what that's going to command. I don't think it's going to command what it would have last year or 2 years ago. Will Warren, I don't see the Yankees trading Will Warren. I would, but I don't see the Yankees doing it. But I would if they could. I would definitely do it. But I'm not sure, again, what kind of value he has around the league because he doesn't have elite stuff. So I'm not sure what we can really do to fundamentally change this team. And yeah, I don't know. This team is just not good enough to do much. I don't think it's good enough to beat the Tigers and in the ALCS. I think it's good enough to reach an ALCS. I just don't think it's good enough to get much beyond it. And they would get absolutely lampooned in a World Series. We are so far away from the other teams in the National League, it's not even funny. And the Giants just got the Devers. The Dodgers will kick our ass. Did you see what the Dodgers have done to us in the last series? 18-2? You kidding me? He handed us our ass. They're miles better. The Mets are better too. So this team isn't a World Series team. I hate to break it to you. They maybe make an ALCS, but I wouldn't put much beyond that. And maybe a lot of people will be happy with that. Hey, we win an ALCS, but They are wasting Aaron Judge. They are wasting Aaron Judge. Well, the AL is already weak and Devers is out of it, so that is good news. If you want some good news, if you're a Yankee fan, is that Devers is gone. Doesn't really change the day-to-day for the Yankees, though. It just means that when we face the Red Sox, his 31 home runs against the Yankees won't happen anymore, so that's nice. But I'm sure someone else is going to be a Yankee killer. Maybe it'll be Narvaez. Who knows? The Red Sox always seem to do something. Even when they're at their worst, they seem to beat Aaron Boone's Yankees. Right? It's frustrating. It's frustrating. As Evan says, it's been the same habit since 2018, and it is very frustrating to watch. It's been going on and on and on for years, and I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. I'm sick of watching it. I'm just sick of this attitude that permeates. That they're just perfectly content with getting swept against the Red Sox. Getting beat 18-2 off the Dodgers. Losing a game against the Rockies. This team is very overrated. They're very lucky to be ahead in the division. 3.5 games ahead in the division. Which, by the way, isn't that much. But I find that they're actually quite fortunate to be where they're at. I just don't think that they're that good a team. If they're just very lucky that the rest of the American League is pretty much garbage. You look at the rest of the American League, I mean, the Rangers are 500. The Angels are 4 games below 500. The Athletics are 15 games below 500. The Astros are pretty good. The Tigers are very good. The Twins we've always killed the Twins. They're only a game above 500. The Guardians, they don't scare me. They're 500. The Royals aren't that good. 4 games below 500. The White Sox are awful. The Orioles are 10 games below 500 because they had one of the worst off seasons known to man. The Red Sox, they're a game above 500 because of the Yankees. And they just traded away their best player, so they're not going to be that good. The Blue Jays, they're 5 games above 500. They always kill the Yankees, but, I mean, it's still the Blue Jays. They never really make the most of their talent. So we're lucky there. The Rays, their team is not that good at all. They've just got a great management system. They're 7 games above 500. They play hard. They play well. They're 7-3 in their last 10, but they're just not that great a team. They don't have that much of a roster. The Yankees are just very, very lucky. So I would say that the 42-28 record is a kind of an anomaly because if you put them against the National League, I don't even know if they're a playoff team. The Mets, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres, they're all better than the Yankees. You know, the Diamondbacks aren't that bad. The Brewers are always pretty good. The Braves are having a rough season, to be fair, but they've always been good in the past. I'm telling you, if the Yankees were in the National League, they would struggle to make a wild card. So they are very lucky that they're in the weak American League. So that's why I'm not overrating them, and that's why I don't get that excited. The one time I got excited this season was when Aaron Judge hit that home run over the Green Monster. He pimped it. I was like, oh my God, that is a moment. And then still lost the game. So I think this series told me everything I need to know about this team. I'm not expecting much from them. I think that they're an ALCS team, and then they'll lose in the ALCS. That's my prediction. But it depends on what happens in July. They need to have a hell of a deadline. They need to add a hell of a third baseman. Like a hell of a third baseman. If they add a hell of a righty bat and 2 or 3 really good arms, then I'll change my mind. But until then, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And the Red Sox exposed those flaws again, which is exactly like what happened last year. Do you guys remember that game where they stole like 6 bases in one game? And it was like a record. Was it 6 or was it 10? I lost count. Alex Cora, because the Yankees, it was exactly the same as this situation, where the Red Sox were really struggling and the Yankees were riding high, feeling great about themselves. Oh, we're the big bad Yankees, blah, blah, blah. Alex Cora figures out that the Yankees can't throw to second base, and they just put the ball in play, and the Yankees just helped them win the game. And then that exact film was used for all the other good teams, such as the Dodgers, to beat the piss out of the Yankees. So fast forward 12 months later, and guess what? Alex Cora's done it again. He exposed all our flaws again, and I'm sure other good teams will figure out that the Yankees have some serious flaws, especially on the base paths. An embarrassing series, an embarrassing weekend. Aaron Boone embarrassed himself. The offense embarrassed themselves. Anthony Volpe embarrassed himself. Dominguez embarrassed himself. Who else embarrassed themselves? Am I running out of players that embarrassed themselves? Everybody embarrassed themselves, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. The Yankees used to represent greatness. They used to represent being the best, the absolute pinnacle of the sport. They used to be the franchise that all other sport franchises looked up to. They used to be the evil empire. They used to be someone that you're like, oh my God, it's the Yankees. We're fucked. Not anymore. Now it's like, let's go. Not accepting it anymore. Absolutely not accepting it anymore. Volpe is a bust. Volpe is ass, CWE. I'm completely with you. The only person in the channel is going to say it, but I'll say it real. He is ass. He's completely ass. Embarrassing weekend. Used to be. This is 2025. People don't care about the past. I know, but as I say, it should be used as a marker. It should be a representation of what the standards used to be, and to always try and live up to those standards. You can't always be like what they were, but you can at least have the same attitude. You know, you can't. I'm not expecting the same talent level. That's gone. You only get one dynasty in a lifetime, most likely. But the same standards and the same work rate and the same effort should be used. 4 runs in 3 games. The first time in 105 years against the Red Sox. It's never happened before. Just not accepting it anymore. Just not. I'm not putting up with it. I won't put up with it. I'm not putting up with my managers to be like, what base running errors? What are we talking about? What are we doing here? This is New York City. This is the New York Yankees. You guys forget? God, it's just sad. It's just really sad. The Yankees are a shell of themselves, an absolute shell of themselves. And the one person, 2 people, Fried and Aaron Judge, but mostly Aaron Judge, is the one shining light. And it's an incredibly shining light because it's a generational light, and he's probably the best hitter in American League history, shining light. And it's great. And it's still a reason to go to see him every day because it is a freaking show. He puts on a show. Apart from this series, even though he still had one great moment this series. But by and large, he's a one shining light in a very, very dim light. He's the one shining light. So that's it. That's the reality. That's the reality. Max Fried's another one. He got no run support today, but he's been, by and large, been great. You can't ask any more than 7 runs. Just 7 innings, a 2-run ball. Can't ask much more than that. But the rest of the team just didn't care. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, fans are going to get excited over Aaron Judge, and they'll still selfie themselves at Yankee Stadium and then buy every single chicken bucket and all that stuff. And I won't tell them not to. But there's far too many pom-pom waivers on some very average players and a very average manager. And again, I don't hate Aaron Boone. I think he seems like such an awesome guy. And he's done a decent job this year. But I really hate to see that lack of fight from my manager after a sweep. Just to be like, nah, not concerned. Nah. Base running blunders? What base running blunders? Huh. Red Sox had their hitting shoes on today. Nope. Not accepting it. Good to see Ivan in the chat. Average is a fair assessment for Boone. Absolutely. And I think that's just the way that the Yankees operate. They operate kind of average. They're good-ish. Not great. Just good. And a lot of people will be excited by good. And I'm not telling them not to be, but when you have higher standards for your organization, you're going to be disappointed. And that's why I'm disappointed. I've got much higher expectations. Maybe it's unrealistic expectations, and maybe that's on me, but I'm not accepting that 4 runs in 3 games at Fenway to a team that can't pitch. I think Ivan's got a really good point here. Boone needs a real game caller as a bench coach. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. How many times are the Yankees going to keep doing that? Because the Yankees have been doing this in the past with him. The problem isn't the bench coach. It isn't the third base coach. It isn't any of these coaches. The problem comes from him. I'm not saying he's a bad manager. I think he's far from a bad manager. I think he's a pretty okay manager. But the problem is with the mentality that he gives out. It's far too relaxed. It's a friendship thing that he permeates. Like they want to be best friends with him. There needs to be a level of love/fear/respect. It should be a case where if someone does something incredibly stupid on the base pass, that they're like, shit, I'm going to get my ass handed to me by Aaron Boone. I need to be better. I need to be locked in. Because what happened when Derek Jeter made, I think it was a mistake back in 1996. Do you know what he did? He went, because he knew that Joe Torre was going to absolutely chew him out. So he sat beside Joe Torre and he kind of he kind of knew and he had that and a really cool relationship between them. And Torre was just kind of gave him a look, didn't say anything. And then Jeter was like, oh, I'm not going to make that mistake again. He never did. Onto a Hall of Fame career. There needs to be a level of respect, admiration to the coach, absolutely, but also a level of kind of fear in terms of I don't want to cross his bad side. Aaron Boone doesn't have that. He's got one channel, to be your best pal. And I just don't think that that's enough. As a manager of the New York Yankees, I just don't think that's enough. And why do I think that? Well, because the same base running blunders have been going on for the last 7 years. It's going on for the last 7 years, and nothing's changed. Nothing changed. Nothing's changed. Same base running errors, same fundamentals errors, same issues every single year, just with a different kind of approach. But by and large, it's the same. And it's the same attitude. Oh, we'll get him tomorrow. Oh, it's fine. We're still a very good team. Oh, let's just round the corner. just around the corner, just around the corner, just around the corner until you're just running around in a circle, just chasing your own tail. And that's why nothing ever changes. That's why. And that's why we don't have a championship. It permeates from the very, very top. You can be as good a roster and you can be as locked in as a manager, but if you are giving out a general malaise of an approach where everything's kind of fun and fine and cool and chilled, then that's how it's going to be in the worst, most inopportune times. And that's what we're seeing. It's a general malaise. And until that malaise is snapped out, cut out, then it's going to permeate and it's going to continue. It's going to continue and it's going to continue. And it might not show up for months. And you're thinking, oh, wow, this team's great. Wow, so good. And then it'll show up at the most inopportune times, like in beat 18-2 off the Dodgers or getting beat 5 out of 6 against a really bad Red Sox team. It's going to come back or getting your ass absolutely handed to you in the World Series. It's going to happen to you at the most inopportune times. And that's exactly what's happening. It's been happening every single year since 2018. Nothing ever changes. Why is that? I completely agree with this point. This is a very good point. Rob Thompson left, and the conditioning and fundamentals seem to be lacking since. He ran spring training through the Torrey to Joe Girardi era. Dude, I couldn't like that post more if I tried. If this was X, I would retweet it because that's how good it is. That is a very good point. We missed the boat with Rob Thompson. I don't understand why we let him walk away. He represented the Yankees. He treated the Yankees with the reverence that it deserved. Maybe it's because he was old school that Brian Cashman kicked him out, but he wanted the Yankees to behave like the old school Yankees, the Joe Torre Yankees, the Joe Girardi era, the George Steinbrenner Yankees. Buttoned up, wear a suit on the plane, act like Yankees, play your frickin' asses off, play with some fight. That's the kind of stuff that Rob Thompson taught. He had them fit. He had them working hard. He had them working hard in spring training. And spring training wasn't just this very relaxed, fun trip to Tampa with your feet up, which Aaron Boone runs, but actually preparation for the season. Rob Thompson ran a tight ship. He was Joe Girardi's trusted dude. And he went on to be a decent manager in Philadelphia. He was a very good coach. Very good. And we miss it. We miss those type of coaches, those old school coaches that just reminds you, just to remind you of the expectations. And that's what's missing. It really is missing. I do think that if a Rob Thompson was a bench coach to Aaron Boone, or if Aaron Boone was the bench coach to Rob Thompson, we would be a hell of a lot of a better team. I guarantee you that. Absolutely. We just miss that little bit of fight, conditioning, and fundamentals, and kind of that old school mentality. But Brian Cashman likes this new school approach of analytics and all that stuff, and that's fine. But and Aaron Boone likes his cupcakes and a very relaxed atmosphere, and just to love the players and all that piss. But it doesn't replace some good old school coaching. So yeah, I completely agree with you, Ivan. Looking forward to speaking to you more in the future and future streams. I do appreciate everyone that's checked out my latest rant. Absolutely disgusted. Yeah, bantering with Boone. I'm not going to pay attention to it. I can't. I don't have the stomach for it. Don't have the stomach for it. But yeah, heck, if you look at John Boy's tweets, I don't think he was too happy. Called it an embarrassment of a series, and he's spot on. So, and it was. There's absolutely no excusing it. Even if the Red Sox have given the Yankees a gift by trading away their best player. But anyway, I do appreciate everyone that checked out my stream tonight. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So all the love to everyone that subscribes to this channel and supports this channel. I do really appreciate it. We will be back Monday morning, tomorrow morning, with Rob and Uncle Tats, and it'll be very interesting to hear what their point will be. I'm sure they will not be happy. You guys know my thoughts. You've heard my thoughts. Now you'll hear their thoughts tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So be sure to check it out and share it out to your friends and family. And as Tat says, the stranger on the corner. So as I say, good night, guys. Have a good rest of your weekend. Good rest of your night. And let's go Yankees and play harder than the Yankees do. Good night, guys. See you tomorrow.